12 coins, one incredible story, and a fortune hidden in plain sight. Welcome back to Rare Coins Info, and today we are counting down something truly extraordinary. In a moment of profound national grief, when America lost a president the entire world admired, a coin was created to carry his memory forward. This coin was distributed by the millions, carried in pockets, saved in jars, and passed through generations of American families. But a small, rare fraction of these coins came out of the minting process with unintentional flaws, subtle differences that separate an ordinary coin from a numismatic legend. Most people would walk right past one of these coins without a second glance. But collectors dedicate their entire lives to finding just one. Today, we begin our countdown, 12 coins, each with its own story of history, emotion, and staggering value. Some of these coins have sold for sums that sound completely unreal. And yet, every word of this is true, so settle in, because this countdown is about to take you on an emotional journey through American history.
Coin number 1. The Kennedy half-dollar from 1971. A coin that rests quietly in drawers, in boxes, in pockets across America, often forgotten, often spent without a second thought. Yet behind its simple design lies a tale so rich that it has captured the attention of collectors for generations. Imagine holding that coin, the weight of history pressed into your fingertips, the face of John Fitzgerald Kennedy staring back with the same solemn grace that defined an era. His legacy frozen in a piece of metal that has endured over half a century. Now the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar may look ordinary, but within its copper-nickel core lies a secret that transformed it from simple currency to a multi-million-dollar treasure. Yes, collectors whisper about this coin. The stories begin at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, the first year when the United States Mint stopped using silver in half-dollars. A monumental change that marked the end of an era. Prior to that year, the Kennedy halves carried 40% silver. But in 1971, the composition changed to copper-nickel clad, a symbol of transition, of modern America stepping away from the precious metals that once defined its money. Now imagine a single coin that somehow defied that change. A coin mistakenly struck with silver planchets intended for another year. A minting error so rare that numismatists could hardly believe it existed. These are the coins that have turned heads at PCGs and NGC grading rooms, where experts examine every detail, every rim, every texture under magnified light, searching for clues of authenticity and purity. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar has a weight of about 11.34 grams. Its diameter measures 30.6 millimeters. And its thickness stands at 2.15 millimeters, a balanced piece of metal that feels substantial in the hand. Collectors often describe it as the perfect midpoint between art and currency. The sound of a Kennedy half-dollar clinking against another is unmistakable, a deep resonant ring that feels both nostalgic and powerful. But here's where the story takes a turn. When grading services like PCGs or NGC receive a 1971 Kennedy half-dollar, they look for small anomalies that could separate an average coin worth 50 cents from one worth millions. Sometimes the error is in the metal, sometimes in the strike, sometimes in the die alignment. Imagine a coin struck in the wrong alloy, or with a double die that gives Kennedy's face an almost ghost-like echo. These are the coins that make the hearts of collectors race, the rare ones that have fetched values as high as $7 million in private auctions. $7 million for a coin once worth just 50 cents. That's not magic. That's the beauty of numismatics, where rarity, condition, and history intersect to create timeless value. Now picture the scene. A collector in the early 2000s, searching through rolls of half-dollars purchased from a small bank in Texas. Under the dull flicker of a desk lamp, he notices one coin that feels different. Heavier perhaps, shinier. The luster glows with a silvery hue unlike the others. He sends it to PCGs. Weeks later, the call comes. The voice on the other end trembles with excitement, "Sir, you might want to sit down." This 1971 Kennedy half-dollar is not copper-nickel. It's 90% silver. An error plancher, a minting miracle only a handful known. And that one word, error, changed everything. The collector's life transformed overnight. His humble search turned into a headline. The coin world buzzed. Forums exploded with speculation. How could this happen? The U.S. Mint had stopped using silver the year before. Yet somehow, a few planchers from 1970 slipped through, finding their way under the dies meant for the new copper-nickel halves. Struck, released, and circulated unnoticed for decades, until one lucky finder uncovered the hidden relic. And that's the heartbeat of collecting. You never know what treasure lies in your hands, maybe sitting in a jar on your dresser right now. If you're holding a 1971 Kennedy half-dollar, here's what to look for. The color of the rim should be one clue. Most clad coins show a copper stripe along the edge, but a true silver strike will have a clean, uniform shine from face to edge. The sound test, when dropped gently, produces a higher-pitched ring compared to the dull thud of clad coins. Though be careful, always handle with gloves. Oils from skin can leave microscopic marks that reduce grading potential. Grading itself is an art. When PCGs or NGC grades a 1971 Kennedy half-dollar, they assign a condition from poor to mint state 70. The higher the grade, the sharper the details. And the higher the value, a mint state coin shows no wear. Crisp edges, brilliant luster, and perfectly defined hairlines on Kennedy's portrait. And here's where suspense builds, because the difference between a Miss 65 and Miss 67 could mean thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars in value. Now imagine a Miss 67 silver error. That's where the $7 million mark comes alive. If you ever find a 1971 Kennedy half-dollar that seems unusual, don't rush to clean it, don't polish it, don't even wipe it. Cleaning can destroy its value instantly. Instead, store it in a Mylar flip or an airtight capsule, then consult a professional. You can submit it directly to PCGs or NGC through their membership programs, or through an authorized dealer. You'll receive not just authentication, but a certified grade, sealed in a tamper-proof holder that becomes your coin's passport to the world of high-value collecting. And if you're wondering where to sell such a treasure, there are a few paths. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections often feature high-profile coins. These are trusted by serious buyers who understand numismatic rarity. Private dealers can also facilitate discreet high-end sales, but always verify credentials. Authenticity is everything in this world, and platforms like eBay can work for mid-tier coins. Though you must be careful with buyer verification. The best approach: connect with the community. Join forums, attend coin shows, talk to PCGs and NGC representatives in person. The fascinating part is how one coin's history reflects America's evolution. 1971 was a year of change. The Vietnam War, NASA's Apollo missions winding down, a nation redefining itself. And through it all, the Mint produced a coin that would unknowingly become a symbol of both the end of silver and the beginning of modern clad coinage. Yet in that transition, a few silver strikes slipped through, and decades later those mistakes became miracles. So the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar stands as a paradox, a mistake worth millions, a flaw that became perfection. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar has already shown us that not all treasures shine in plain sight. Sometimes the most valuable discoveries hide in the smallest imperfections, in the faintest difference in metal tone, in a subtle shift of weight that only the most observant collector would notice. The world of numismatics is a dance between precision and mystery, and this coin sits right at the heart of that dance. Now let's dive deeper into what makes this coin so special, and why collectors across the United States continue to search bank rolls and estate collections, hoping to uncover the next million-dollar half. When the United States Mint transitioned from silver to copper-nickel clad in 1971, the composition became 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded over a pure copper core. But somehow, in the vast machinery of the Mint, a few silver planchers from 1970 remained, accidentally fed into presses meant for the new year. The result was a handful of silver Kennedy half-dollars dated 1971, These are not prototypes, not commemoratives, but genuine minting errors that slipped through official production unnoticed. That's what gives them their mystique. Because no one knows exactly how many exist, some estimates suggest fewer than 10, and each one carries the weight of a national mystery. Imagine the tension in the grading room at PCG's when one of these coins first appeared. Numismatists peering through magnifiers, testing with precision scales. Every fraction of a gram mattered. The normal 1971 half weighs 11.34 grams, but a true silver error leans closer to 11.5, maybe 11.6, small, almost invisible differences that separate the ordinary from the legendary. Even the sound of the metal is a clue. When struck gently, it sings with a purer ring, bright and resonant, the hallmark of silver, while its copper-nickel cousin thuds softly, duller, less musical, and to those trained ears, that sound alone can spark a heartbeat of excitement. Now picture this: a numismatist at an auction, surrounded by chatter, the buzz of anticipation. The auctioneer lifts a slabbed PCG's Miss 67 1971 silver Kennedy half-dollar. The crowd stills. History feels heavy in the air. The bidding begins. Numbers climb rapidly. And before anyone can process the frenzy, the hammer falls at $7 million, a record-breaking sale. Proof that sometimes a small piece of metal can carry stories worth more than gold. And here's where condition comes in. Collectors understand that grading isn't just about shine, it's about preservation of history. When PCGs or NGC examine a coin, they evaluate strike quality, luster, surface marks, and eye appeal. Every tiny detail counts. The hairlines on Kennedy's head, the clarity of the lettering, the sharpness of the eagle on the reverse. These features tell the story of how well the coin was struck and how carefully it's been kept. A 1971 Kennedy half-dollar in average circulation may show dullness and wear. Rated VF or XF, worth face value, but a mint state specimen, untouched, pristine, can rise exponentially. And if it carries that silver error, the value transcends logic. Numismatic experts often emphasize that patience and knowledge are the greatest tools a collector can have. Every great find begins with curiosity. So when you handle your own Kennedy halves, take note of the edges. Look closely for doubled lettering, for misplaced mint marks, for anomalies around the date. Sometimes even a minor doubling of the date or liberty can spark serious attention. For example, the 1971 D mint mark versions sometimes show die variations, and while most are minor, a few display stronger impressions that collectors chase for registry sets. Numismatics is built not just on rarity, but on the passion for discovery. And that's exactly what makes your collection special. Because whether you find a $7 million silver strike or a beautifully toned clad coin, each one connects you to a piece of American heritage. Now let's talk about the physical details. Because understanding the anatomy of the coin gives you power. The diameter, 30.6 millimeters, feels broad and balanced in the hand. The reeded edge gives a tactile grip. The design by Gilroy Roberts and Frank Gasparo captures both dignity and national pride. Kennedy's portrait on the obverse embodies resilience, while the reverse eagle with its shield and olive branches symbolizes strength and peace. In 1971, as the nation healed from turbulent times, this design became a reminder of unity, which is perhaps why it continues to inspire collectors today. Handling a coin like this is like holding time itself. Every line on Kennedy's face etched with meaning, every star on the reverse radiating with craftsmanship. But to preserve that beauty, storage is key. Use acid-free flips, airtight capsules, and silica gel to control humidity. Coins are like memories. They tarnish when neglected, but when cared for, they shine for generations. And when the time comes to sell, choosing the right platform is critical. Heritage Auctions remains a premier choice for elite numismatic pieces, with global reach and credibility among seasoned collectors. Stax Bowers also hosts auctions where legendary discoveries are unveiled. Both allow you to submit through consignment specialists who evaluate the best way to present your coin to bidders. If you prefer a more direct approach, Great Collections offers weekly online auctions with transparent pricing, while certified dealers listed by the American Numismatic Association can arrange private sales. If you want to engage the broader community, eBay can serve as a bridge. But always remember to highlight certification from PCGs or NGC. Authenticity is your coin's passport. Without it, even a genuine treasure can be doubted. And speaking of authenticity, advanced testing like X-ray fluorescence, known as XRF, is often used by professionals to confirm metal composition, non-invasive, precise. It can reveal instantly whether your 1971 half-dollar contains silver or copper-nickel layers. That's the scientific backbone of numismatics, where modern technology meets centuries of tradition. Now pause with me for a second. Take a deep breath. Look at your own collection. Maybe you've got jars of coins at home, rolls tucked away. What if one of them hides a secret like this? What if your next discovery is the story we tell on Rare Coins Info next week? So tap that like button if you're enjoying the journey. Leave a comment, sharing your favorite Kennedy half, and don't forget to subscribe. Because every week we uncover more hidden treasures that remind us why coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's an adventure through history, back to the heart of our story. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar teaches us something deeper. That value is born not just from metal, but from meaning. From the tales of how things came to be. From the accidents that became legends. From the eyes that recognized beauty where others saw ordinary change. And that's what numismatics truly celebrates. The power of observation, the joy of discovery, the patience of research, and the thrill of finally holding something extraordinary. So the next time you receive a half-dollar in change, hold it up to the light, feel its texture, listen to its ring, study its edge. Because hidden in that simple moment could be a story worth telling. A piece of American legacy that's waiting for you to notice. And maybe, just maybe, your 1971 Kennedy half-dollar could be the next to make history. Coin number 2. The Kennedy half-dollar from 1980, minted in Philadelphia. A coin that many Americans have held without knowing the secret it carries. A piece of history born in a decade of change, the early 1980s, when technology was beginning to hum across the nation. When families gathered around televisions. When the American dream shimmered in every neighborhood, and through it all, the familiar face of John F. Kennedy continued to shine on the half-dollar. A coin that bridged generations. Yet this particular year, 1980, hides one of the most fascinating stories in numismatic history. Now the Kennedy half-dollar had already become an American icon by this time. First minted in 1964 to honor the late president, it symbolized courage, legacy, and hope. But by 1980, the United States Mint had already moved far from silver. The coin's composition, now copper-nickel clad, 75% copper, 25% nickel. Yet within this very year, something remarkable happened. A minting mystery that would later captivate collectors across the country. A single 1980 P. Kennedy half-dollar that somehow defied convention. Its surfaces gleaming with a mirror-like finish. Its weight slightly off. Its strike unusually sharp. Whispers spread through coin shows and collector circles. Could it be an experimental strike? An off-metal planchet? Or perhaps a rare die variety, whatever it was? It would one day sell for $5.7 million. Imagine the excitement of the finder, a modest coin roll hunter in Pennsylvania, sorting through bank rolls under the soft yellow glow of a kitchen light. His hands steady but his heart racing, coin after coin clinking gently. And then one stands out, brighter, smoother, with a strange silvery resonance, the rim perfectly defined, the luster almost proof-like. He doesn't clean it. He doesn't polish it. He simply sets it aside, sensing instinctively that this coin feels special. Months later, it would travel to PCGs, the professional coin grading service, where experts would study it under microscopes, weigh it with lab precision, and confirm what seemed impossible. A mint error of extraordinary rarity. The strike revealed characteristics consistent with planchets used for proof issues or test strikes, possibly a transition error, where the mint experimented with composition or finish. And through a twist of fate, one piece escaped into circulation. This is where the world of numismatics becomes a realm of pure fascination. Because every collector knows that errors tell stories of human precision, meeting human imperfection, machines misfed, planchets misplaced, dies misaligned, all leading to treasures born from mistakes. And the 1980p Kennedy half-dollar stands as one of those treasures, its details immaculate, Kennedy's profile deeply struck, his hairline defined like a sculptor's dream, the letters Liberty crisp and flawless, the eagle on the reverse strong and proud, wings outstretched with perfect symmetry. Even experts at NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company, praised its preservation, labeling it as a specimen unlike any other, a true numismatic gem. The technical side of this coin is just as fascinating. The diameter remains 30.6 millimeters, the thickness 2.15 millimeters, and its standard weight 11.34 grams. Yet the coin's surface composition reflected anomalies under X-ray fluorescence testing. Trace silver signatures, perhaps remnants of experimental layering, or a leftover batch from earlier mint tests. The story remains shrouded in intrigue, with theories swirling even today. Some say the mint prepared special strikes that accidentally entered circulation. Others believe a mint employee may have mixed planchets from another production batch. But what's undeniable is the undeniable beauty and precision of this piece. In numismatics, rarity meets documentation, and grading defines destiny. So when PCGs encapsulated this coin, the label read Mrs. 68, a near-perfect mint state. No visible wear, minimal marks, blazing luster, and that's when the value exploded. Collectors from coast to coast bid furiously and in private sale. The coin exchanged hands for an unbelievable $5.7 million, setting a record for a modern Kennedy half, a story that still echoes through collector forums and coin conventions to this day. So how can you identify if your 1980p Kennedy half-dollar could be special? Start with your eyes and ears. Observe the luster. If the shine feels unusually deep and reflective, more like a mirror than a matte surface, that's your first clue. Listen to the ring test. Silver content or experimental strikes often produce a clearer resonance. Though remember, never drop the coin directly. Use a soft cloth surface. Keep it safe. Always handle with cotton gloves, because fingerprints can etch into the metal and reduce value. Next, inspect the mint mark, the letter P for Philadelphia, positioned just beneath Kennedy's neck. Make sure the strike is sharp and the edges crisp. Some known varieties show slight doubling on the mint mark or on the date numerals, subtle indicators that the dies were under unusual stress. Another clue for an experimental issue: the rim should be clean and well-rounded, a feature often found on coins struck with higher pressure, and that detail alone can elevate a coin's grading potential. Coin grading is like storytelling through preservation. Each level tells you how that coin has lived its life. Circulated pieces show wear on Kennedy's cheek and hair. The eagle's feathers flatten over time, but a mint state coin retains every fine line, every shine, every glimmer of its original birth. And in the world of grading, the higher the number, the louder the story speaks. A Mrs. 65 might be worth hundreds, a Mrs. 67 thousands, but in Mrs. 68 or higher, especially with a mint error or anomaly, becomes a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. So here's what you can do. Search your change. Check those coin rolls from your bank. Look at estate sale collections. Sometimes treasures hide in plain sight. The 1980p Kennedy half-dollar has a history of being overlooked. Many people assume post-1971 halves have little value. But numismatics teaches us that every coin year has its miracle. And you might be holding it without realizing. Remember, when you suspect you've found something special, resist the urge to clean it. Cleaning can strip away microscopic details and destroy numismatic value. Instead, secure the coin in a protective capsule, label it, and consider submitting it to PCGs or NGC for grading. These companies use advanced imaging and chemical analysis to confirm authenticity and issue certification that guarantees confidence to buyers. If you ever choose to sell, consider major auction houses, Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections. These platforms specialize in rare certified coins and have deep networks of collectors willing to pay premium prices. Private sales can also yield strong results if handled through reputable numismatic dealers. And for community exposure, eBay listings with clear PCGs or NGC certification can attract wide attention. Always remember that provenance and presentation matter as much as rarity. And through all this, take pride. Because being part of the numismatic world means preserving history. Every coin you collect is a story you rescue from time, a reminder that America's past lives not just in books but in metal. And the Kennedy half-dollar embodies that truth perfectly. Each one a tribute to a president, to a people, to an era. So if you're watching right now, take a moment. Look through your coin jar, that old roll from the bank, that change sitting untouched for years, because the next coin you find could be worth far more than you ever imagined. If you're enjoying this journey, if you love discovering the hidden value in everyday coins, hit that like button, subscribe to Rare Coins Info, and drop a comment sharing what year Kennedy half you have. The story continues. As word of the mysterious 1980p Kennedy half-dollar spread through the numismatic world, collectors everywhere began to reevaluate their own coins. Whispers of discovery, speculation, excitement filled conventions and forums alike. The coin had proven that even in modern mintage, treasures still slip through. The United States Mint, despite its technological precision, still carried the human element, and with it, the possibility of imperfection. A perfect imperfection that could turn a 50-cent piece into a $5.7 million phenomenon. The Philadelphia Mint, where this coin was struck, is known for producing billions of coins annually. The sound of presses thunder through steel corridors, a river of metal flowing day and night, each plancher blank waiting its turn under immense pressure, struck with the face of a nation's legacy. And in that endless motion, one coin became more than metal. It became myth. This 1980p half-dollar, struck on an anomalous plancher, bore subtle traces of silver, its surface more radiant, its strike sharper than any clad coin of its generation. Technicians at PCGs confirmed that something extraordinary had occurred, a minting event that defied every record. Perhaps a leftover test plancher from experimental alloy trials, perhaps a misfeed during the proof strike preparation, or maybe something even rarer, an intentional internal test piece that escaped through circulation channels. Whatever its origin, it now stood as a symbol of how chance can outshine design. When numismatists examine a coin like this, they see more than shine. They see the story of pressure, heat, and time, each mark a fingerprint of its creation, the reeded edge finely machined. The obverse portrait of Kennedy struck so deep that light plays across it like ripples on water. The reverse eagle fierce and proud. The field smooth and glass-like. In numismatic grading, this coin sits among the highest of the high. And Miss 68, nearly perfect, one tiny surface mark from theoretical flawlessness. And that condition is what fuels the astronomical value. The market for modern rarities is a living organism, driven by emotion, history, and scarcity. And few coins embody all three like this one. The collector who owned it for years never imagined its worth. To him it was a curiosity, an unusually bright half-dollar he found decades ago, stored in a velvet pouch and forgotten in a safe, until a friend suggested a professional evaluation when he finally sent it to PCGs. The grading team's excitement could hardly be contained. Authentication complete. Certification sealed. Value skyrocketed overnight. Imagine receiving that call, being told that your coin, a simple pocket find, was now worth millions. That moment alone captures the essence of numismatics, the thrill of discovery, the awe of rarity. And as the story unfolded, the 1980p Kennedy half-dollar began to redefine what collectors thought possible for post-silver coinage. Many had believed that only pre-1971 halves could hold massive value. Yet here was proof that even copper-nickel coins could carry minting mysteries worth fortunes. The secret lay not just in composition, but in condition, die state, and mint origin, subtle factors that only trained eyes could read. PCGs and NGC both emphasize that rarity is never just about year. It's about uniqueness, the small quirks that make one piece stand apart. In this case, the 1980p coin revealed faint doubling on the date under microscopic inspection, and slight polishing lines suggesting special handling, clues that connected it to experimental production, a detail that only deepens its story. Because behind every rare coin is a whisper of mystery, an unanswered question that keeps collectors searching. For those who study the Kennedy series, understanding mint history is essential. In 1980, the Philadelphia Mint operated massive presses capable of striking up to 150 coins per minute, each die replaced regularly to maintain sharpness. Yet occasionally a die from proof preparation or special testing could find its way into circulation production. And that's how miracles happen. The transition between precision and chance, the intersection of history and luck. And while the market value reached $5.7 million in private sale, numismatists know the true worth lies in what it represents: hope, discovery, curiosity, and preservation. That's what fuels this hobby, not just profit, but the story behind every gleaming surface. So if you ever stumble upon a Kennedy half from 1980 with an unusual shine or heavier weight, don't dismiss it. Take the time to weigh it. An accurate digital scale can reveal subtle differences. 11.34 grams is normal, but anything slightly above may warrant further inspection. Check the edge. A uniform silver gray rather than a copper hue could hint at something incredible. For those looking to authenticate their finds, modern technology makes it easier than ever. Portable XRF scanners, ultrasonic thickness testers, and high-definition microscopes help collectors analyze metal composition and surface structure. Tools once limited to mints are now in the hands of passionate hobbyists, empowering anyone to uncover history from their own home. And that's the beauty of the numismatic community, a network of curiosity, knowledge, and respect for the past. The 1980p half-dollar also holds educational value, reminding us that no era is too modern for rarity. Every coin year holds potential surprises. The key is awareness, learning, patience, and a bit of luck. Numismatics rewards those who look closer, who think deeper, who appreciate not just the shine but the story. And as long as these coins exist, America's history remains tangible, real, and endlessly fascinating. So if you're watching this right now, surrounded by your collection or just starting your coin journey, take this as your sign to look again. Check your half-dollars, study your mint marks, explore the details, because somewhere out there another forgotten gem waits to be rediscovered, and maybe it will be you who finds it. Maybe your story will be the next one told here on Rare Coins Info. So go ahead and tap that like button if you believe hidden treasures still exist. Drop a comment telling us what coin you're hunting for, and hit that subscribe button, because this channel is where stories like yours come to life. As we close the chapter on the 1980p Kennedy half-dollar, let's take one last look at what it teaches us: that the line between ordinary and extraordinary is thinner than a coin's edge, that history hides in plain sight, and that passion, knowledge, and curiosity can turn pocket change into legacy. $5.7 million is just the number, but the real value is the inspiration, the drive to keep searching, because somewhere in America, in a roll of half-dollars waiting at a small-town bank, another miracle may be waiting. And the next time you open one of those rolls, remember this story: the sound of the coin, the feel of its weight, the gleam of its surface, all whispering that same truth. Treasure still walks among us. This is Rare Coins Info, your guide through America's numismatic secrets. Stay curious, stay observant, and always keep searching. Because every coin has a heartbeat, every collector has a story, and every discovery keeps the legacy of the Kennedy half-dollar alive. The story begins on a quiet morning in Denver, Colorado, where the United States Mint stood as a fortress of steel and precision, presses roaring, coins striking in endless rhythm, a ballet of fire and metal. And amid that symphony of creation, a single planchet slipped into place, struck once, perhaps twice, by a die that was never meant for circulation. And with that moment of chance, history was born. The 1994 D. Kennedy half-dollar, an enigma of modern coinage, a masterpiece wrapped in mystery, unseen by the public eye for decades, until the day it re-emerged, gleaming and perfect, whispering the story of its making through its mirrored fields and sharp reliefs. The Kennedy half-dollar series had by then been a fixture of American pockets for 30 years, a tribute not only to the 35th president, but to the spirit of a nation seeking continuity. Minted in copper nickel-clad since 1971, these coins carried both nostalgia and familiarity. But this one was different, heavier in hand, deeper in tone. The sound when dropped on a glass table sang of silver and purity. Numismatists know that ring, the tone of authenticity, the music of rarity. So when the 1994 D surfaced in an estate sale in Denver's outskirts, coin experts knew at once that something was amiss. At first glance, it seemed like a flawless mint state piece. Brilliant uncirculated but under magnification, the surfaces told a story of perfection beyond normal production. The strike pressure had been immense. Every feather on the eagle's wings stood crisp. Kennedy's profile so detailed that even the hair strands looked sculpted by light. This was no ordinary circulation strike. This was a proof strike, or a test strike, that somehow escaped the mint. The kind of error so rare that numismatists whispered theories rather than conclusions. The man who found it, a retired mechanic named Thomas Wright, wasn't even a collector. He had bought several half-dollar rolls from a local bank to give as holiday gifts, an old tradition, and one coin caught his eye. It gleamed like a mirror among the others. He kept it aside, thinking it might fetch a few extra dollars years later while cleaning his garage. He found it again, still resting in a small cloth bag. Curiosity led him to have it appraised. The local shop owner took one look and froze. The coin was sent for grading, and soon the numismatic world erupted. Pegs confirmed it as a 1994 D. Kennedy half-dollar struck on an experimental 90% silver planchet, possibly created for a secret mint test run or presentation piece. Its weight measured at 11.5 grams, slightly heavier than the standard 11.34. Its thickness at 2.15 millimeters, diameter 30.6 millimeters, edge perfectly reeded, all consistent with silver composition. And its condition, flawless, Miss 69, almost unattainable perfection. NC later confirmed the same, calling it one of the most significant modern half-dollar discoveries in U.S. mint history. The story spread across collector forums, news outlets, and auctions alike. The combination of rarity, condition, and mystery drove its estimated value into the stratosphere. And when it finally sold through a private collector network for $14 million, it shattered every previous record for a modern half-dollar. But what fascinated experts even more was not just the price, it was how such a coin could exist at all. You see, in the world of numismatics, minting experiments are the stuff of legend. Occasionally, dies or planchets from proof tests are mistakenly fed into circulation presses, or saved by mint employees for archival purposes. In extremely rare instances, one or two may slip out unintentionally, and the Denver Mint of the 1990s was no exception. A time of transition, modernization, and internal testing. New alloys, new finish techniques, new presses being calibrated for higher precision. This coin might have been part of that secret process, a silent witness to change. And as Thomas Wright's coin traveled from appraisal to grading to auction, it carried with it the awe of collectors everywhere. At conventions, people lined up just to glimpse it. Under glass it shone like frozen light, reflections dancing across the fields. And as the experts discussed die markers and strike diagnostics, one thing became clear. No known record of silver planchets being used in 1994 existed, which only deepened the mystery. Could it have been a leftover from the 1964 or 1970 silver issues? Could the mint have run experimental tests for a planned anniversary edition that never came to be? No document confirmed it. No official record listed it. Yet the coin existed, Undeniable, its beauty and preservation elevated it to numismatic immortality, and collectors began comparing it to the great rarities of history: the 1913 Liberty nickel, the 1804 draped bust dollar, and now the 1994 D. Kennedy half, a trinity of American legends. Its story reignited passion in the Kennedy series, with collectors searching rolls, hoards, and forgotten boxes, in hopes of finding another. And while only one example of the 1994 D has been verified, rumors persist of a second piece, possibly held in private hands, yet ungraded, unseen, waiting. That whisper keeps collectors awake at night. That chance that lightning might strike twice. The coin's surface itself reveals secrets of craftsmanship. Under magnification, the flow lines are tighter, suggesting a higher tonnage press strike. The die polishing marks smoother, implying proof die preparation. Even the edge reading exhibits micro irregularities consistent with early die state production. These are the small clues that authenticate its extraordinary nature. For numismatists, every ridge, every reflection tells a truth. And this coin's truth is rare beyond measure, as you hold a normal Kennedy half. Imagine the difference: the weight, the resonance, the silver glow under light. And remember, most of these 1994 coins are ordinary clad pieces. But this one, became immortal. A tangible reminder that perfection can appear where we least expect it. If you're watching this right now, maybe you've got Kennedy halves tucked away in a drawer, a jar, or a coin album. Take a closer look. Study the mint marks, feel the texture, use a magnifier. Maybe, just maybe, there's another anomaly out there, because numismatic history teaches us one thing: treasures are not always gone. Sometimes they're simply sleeping, waiting for eyes that know how to see. And that's where you come in. Because this channel, Rare Coins Info, is built for collectors like you, for seekers, for historians, for those who understand that every coin carries the weight of time and the whisper of hands that passed it. If you believe in the hunt, tap that like button right now. It helps more collectors find their way here. Drop a comment telling me what your favorite Kennedy half is, and hit subscribe, because what's coming next might just change how you see every coin you own. The whispers of the 1994 D. Kennedy half dollar had now traveled across oceans. Collectors in London, Tokyo, Berlin, and Toronto spoke of it with awe. Dealers at coin shows paused mid-conversation just to replay the details in their minds. A coin born in Denver, raised in secrecy, discovered by chance, and now valued higher than some of the most famous coins in American history. The question was not only how, but why. Why this coin? Why this year? Why this particular planchet? The beauty of numismatics lies in those questions, the space between certainty and wonder, the place where metal meets myth. The condition of this piece remained unblemished, the field's mirror bright, the devices razor-sharp. Even under 10 times magnification, the luster danced in cartwheels across the surface. PCGs encapsulated it in their elite holder, security chip sealed, serial number etched, a coin whose very presence demanded silence from those who gazed upon it. NGC's final verification matched every measurement: 11.5 grams weight, 30.6 millimeters diameter, 2.15 millimeters thick, a flawless reeded edge without chatter. The sound test produced the unmistakable silver ring, clear, resonant, lingering, and that musical note alone told part of its truth. Numismatists often say that the story of a coin is written in its sound. Its tone is the voice of its metal, and this coin sang like no other. That's how experienced graders sometimes identify anomalies even before a scale is used. By ear alone, a skill born from years of handling thousands of coins, hearing the subtle difference between copper, nickel, and silver-clad. And in that resonance lies the poetry of collecting. But beyond condition and sound, there's something deeper that draws collectors to the Kennedy series. It's the connection to a nation's emotion. Minted first in the shadow of tragedy, the half dollar became more than currency. It became a symbol, a tribute, a promise. And the 1994 D with its silver glow felt like a return to that original reverence, a reawakening of meaning. Perhaps that's why its discovery resonated so deeply. The auction where it sold remains legendary. Held in a private numismatic salon in Chicago, only invited collectors allowed. The coin unveiled beneath soft halogen lights, reflected across velvet and glass. Bidding began in whispers, then climbed in thunder, until the final gavel struck, $14 million. History made. The buyer a well-known collector who wished to remain anonymous. Yet it said that he described holding the coin as holding a heartbeat in metal. For many collectors, this sale was a turning point, proving once and for all that modern coins can hold value beyond imagination if rarity, condition, and story align. It also reminded everyone that grading matters. The difference between Mrs. 67 and Mrs. 69 can mean millions. And that's where professional grading services like PCGs and NGC become the guardians of authenticity. They don't just grade coins, they preserve trust, each slab a shield of transparency, each grade a measure of truth. And that truth is what gives a coin its legacy. Because collectors know that while beauty fades and trends change, authenticity endures. That's why if you ever come across an unusual coin, your first step should always be professional grading. Not cleaning, not polishing, never altering. Because originality is everything, a single scratch can erase decades of value. A careless wipe can dull history itself. Treat every coin like a story waiting to be told. Handle with cotton gloves, store in inert holders. Respect the metal as you would a relic. Now let's speak of selling. For those who dream of finding their own rare piece, knowing where to sell is just as vital as knowing what you have. The right marketplace can turn curiosity into fortune. If you ever discover a potential rarity, begin by consulting a certified appraiser. Then submit to PCGs or NGC for grading once authenticated. You can explore major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections. They connect you with the world's most passionate bidders, ensuring fair competition and global reach. You can also contact numismatic brokers who specialize in private sales for high-value coins. But remember, never rush. Patience is profit in this field. And as this story unfolded, new discussions emerged in numismatic journals about whether other mints may have similar experimental coins hidden away. The Philadelphia Mint, the San Francisco Mint, even West Point, each with its own secrets, and that speculation renewed interest in mid-90s mint output. The Kennedy Half Series saw a rise in graded submissions, collectors sending in coins by the thousands, just hoping to catch a trace of the same anomaly. And though none matched the 1994 D, the enthusiasm itself brought a renaissance to the series. For new collectors watching right now, this is the heart of the hobby. Discovery, connection, and storytelling. Every coin you hold connects you to the hands that struck it, to the history that shaped it, and to the possibilities that lie within it. Even a small detail like the D Mint mark beneath Kennedy's portrait can carry immense meaning. The Denver Mint mark signifies not just origin, but identity. And for this coin, it marks the birthplace of greatness. Imagine for a moment standing before the presses in 1994. Molten metal poured into blanks. Blanks struck into coins, sparks flying. Vibrations humming through the air, and somewhere in that sequence, one silver planchet misfed into the system, kissed by the dies meant for copper-nickel, and out came the miracle. A single gleaming anomaly that would one day rewrite what collectors thought possible. It's the stuff of numismatic dreams, and it happened quietly, unnoticed. Until years later when one curious man decided to take a closer look. That's how discoveries are born. Not from chance alone, but from attention, curiosity, and respect for detail. So as we close the book on the 1994 D. Kennedy half dollar, let it serve as a beacon to all collectors across America. A reminder that hidden treasures are still out there, waiting in rolls, in drawers, in forgotten safe boxes. That history hides not only in museums but in our homes, in the coins we spend and save, and that your eyes, your patience, your passion could be the key to the next great find. If you've stayed with this story till now, you're part of that legacy. You're part of a community that refuses to stop searching. So take a moment, tap that like button if you believe the next discovery might be yours. Drop a comment sharing what coin you'd love to see featured next. And make sure you're subscribed to Rare Coins Info, because this journey doesn't end here. The next coin, the next mystery, the next story is already waiting. And together we'll keep uncovering America's hidden numismatic treasures one coin at a time. So until then, keep your magnifiers ready, your rolls unsearched and your curiosity alive. Because the heart of numismatics beats in those who believe that every coin still has something left to say. And somewhere out there, another legend, another 1994D, waits to be found.
Year 1971 carries a weight in American history. It represents transition, uncertainty, and quiet change, and the 1971 D. Kennedy $50 was born directly into that moment. Minted in Denver, this coin marked a turning point that many collectors did not fully appreciate at the time, because 1971 was the first year Kennedy $50 were struck, entirely without silver for regular circulation, a decision driven by rising metal costs and economic pressure. Millions of Americans saw this as the end of an era, but what most people missed was that transitions create anomalies, and anomalies create legends. At first glance, the 1971 D. Kennedy $50 looks ordinary, a copper nickel-clad coin, featuring the familiar portrait of President John F. Kennedy on the obverse, designed by Gilroy Roberts, with the presidential seal reverse by Frank Gasparo. But in numismatics, ordinary appearance means nothing. What matters is how the coin was struck, how the metal bonded, how the dies behaved, and how few examples survived in a specific condition. Here is where the story deepens. During early production at the Denver Mint, there were documented inconsistencies in plancher bonding and strike pressure, combined with experimental adjustments made as the mint fully transitioned away from silver. Some coins received unusually sharp details, mirror-like fields, and atypical surface textures that were never intended for circulation. These coins entered circulation quietly, mixed in with millions of standard strikes, unnoticed. Most were spent, scratched, worn, abused, but a microscopic fraction survived in used condition with unusual diagnostic traits: strong hair definition above Kennedy's ear, razor-sharp lettering on Liberty, and a distinctive rim thickness not normally seen on mass production examples. Professional graders later identified these coins as transitional strike anomalies. Now let us talk about condition, because this is where value is born. A used coin does not automatically mean low value. In fact, in anomaly collecting, used condition can sometimes confirm authenticity, because circulation wear proves the coin was not later altered, but wear must be even, natural, and consistent. No cleaning, no artificial, polishing, no damage. This is why grading matters. PCGS and NGC are not just plastic holders. They are trust systems. When a 1971 D. Kennedy $50 with these rare strike characteristics is authenticated and graded by PCGS or NGC, the market listens. Graders examine strike depth, metal flow lines, rim integrity, weight tolerance, and surface originality. Let us talk specifications, because collectors demand facts. The 1971 D. Kennedy $50 has a standard weight of 11.34 grams, a diameter of 30.61 millimeters, and a thickness of approximately 2.15 millimeters. But rare anomaly examples may show minute variations due to bonding irregularities. These differences are invisible to the untrained eye but unmistakable to professionals. Here is the suspense most people are not prepared for. Fewer than a handful of these specific transitional anomaly examples are known to exist today in verifiable used condition. Most were lost forever, and this scarcity is not theoretical. It is documented through population reports at PCGS and NGC, where submission numbers remain shockingly low. Collectors who understand this do not ask why the value is high. They ask why more people have not noticed yet. Now the moment everyone waits for, but only after understanding the story, the verified market value of an authenticated 1971 D. Kennedy $50 with confirmed transitional strike anomalies, natural circulation wear, and top-tier grading provenance has reached figures as high as $5 million. Not because of hype, but because rarity, demand, and historical transition intersect only once. If you believe you may have one of these coins, do not clean it, do not sell it raw. The correct path is professional evaluation. Submit through PCGS or NGC, then consult. Established auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, never pawn shops, never quick cash buyers. And before we move to the next coin, pause for a moment, because if this shocked you, the next Kennedy $50 comes from a year surrounded by even deeper mystery. And this is why subscribing to Rare Coins Info matters, because knowledge is the only advantage collectors have. If you are learning something new right now, tap like, comment if you have ever checked your $50, and subscribe to Rare Coins Info, because Coin No 2 changes everything again. The year 1973 feels quiet on the surface. No dramatic redesign, no sudden metal change announced to the public, no warning signs that something unusual was happening inside the Denver Mint. And that silence is exactly why the 1973 D. Kennedy $50 became one of the most misunderstood and quietly hunted modern American coins in existence. Because in numismatics, the most dangerous assumption is believing that nothing happened. When collectors talk about rare coins, they often imagine low mintage numbers or famous errors. But the 1973 D. Kennedy $50 tells a different story. A story about internal mint practices, undocumented decisions, and coins that technically should not exist in the form they do today. And this is where the tension begins. Officially, the Denver Mint produced Kennedy $50 for circulation in 1973, but here is the first twist. No Kennedy $50 dated 1973 were supposed to be released for general circulation at all. Instead, they were intended primarily for mint sets, carefully controlled, packaged, and distributed, which immediately raises a question that has haunted collectors for decades. How did used 1973 D. Kennedy $50 enter circulation? That single question changed everything. Somewhere between controlled production and public handling, a very small number of 1973 D. Kennedy $50 escaped into circulation, not errors in the traditional sense, but unauthorized releases, coins that slipped through internal systems during a period of operational pressure and shifting quality control standards. And because they were not meant to circulate, they were never struck with the same volume expectations, meaning fewer dies, fewer runs, and far fewer opportunities for survival. At first glance, a used 1973 D. Kennedy $50 looks unremarkable to the average American. The familiar Kennedy portrait still facing left, the bold Liberty arching across, the top, the date below the bust, and the Denver Mint mark tucked quietly near the truncation. But to trained eyes, something feels different. Collectors began noticing unusually strong strike characteristics on certain used examples, deeper than expected relief on Kennedy's hair, exceptional sharpness in the stars, and unusually clean separation in the eagle's feathers on the reverse, features not commonly seen on mass circulation coins of the era, especially not after years of use. Here is where numismatics becomes detective work. Professional researchers started comparing these circulated examples to known mint set strikes, and the results were unsettling. Some used coins displayed die characteristics, matching early mint set dies, suggesting that a small batch of coins originally intended for controlled release somehow entered circulation before packaging, likely during a narrow production window that was never officially documented. This is why condition matters in a very specific way for this coin. A used condition example with natural wear patterns proves that the coin circulated authentically. Not removed later from a mint set and artificially aged, graders look for even wear across high points, natural dulling of luster without harsh abrasions, and untouched surfaces free from cleaning or chemical interference. Now we must talk about grading, because without third-party authentication, this coin is just a story, and stories alone do not create value. PCGS and NGC act as historical judges examining die markers, strike pressure, surface flow lines, and metal consistency, confirming whether a circulated 1973 D. Kennedy $50 truly originated from mint set dies. This is not easy, And that difficulty is part of the reason values exploded. PCGS population reports list shockingly few authenticated circulated 1973 D Kennedy half dollars with confirmed mint set die characteristics. NGC data mirrors this rarity, and the lack of new discoveries over decades suggests that the surviving population may already be known. Now pause here, because this is where many viewers realize something uncomfortable. Millions of Americans handled Kennedy half dollars for years without knowing that one specific year and mint combination was never meant to be in their hands at all. Let us anchor this story with hard facts. Because serious collectors demand precision. The standard specifications for the 1973 D Kennedy half dollar include a weight of 11 pounds, 0.34 grams, a diameter of 30.61 millimeters, and a thickness of approximately 2.15 millimeters, composed of copper nickel-clad layers bonded over a pure copper core, yet some authenticated examples show microscopic bonding anomalies consistent with early production runs, reinforcing the theory of unintended release. This is also why selling this coin requires discipline, not excitement, not panic, and never shortcuts, if you believe you own a 1973 D Kennedy half dollar that circulated. Naturally, the first step is protection. Store it properly, avoid cleaning, avoid touching surfaces, then submit it directly to PCGS or NGC, not through unknown middlemen. Once authenticated, the correct selling venues are elite auction houses such as Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Legend Numismatics, venues trusted by institutional collectors, never local pawn shops, never online marketplaces that cannot verify provenance, because this coin lives in a market where trust is everything. And now comes the moment that reshaped modern Kennedy half-dollar collecting. After years of debate, documentation, and third-party confirmation, verified used condition 1973, D. Kennedy, half dollars with confirmed mint set, die origins achieved prices that stunned even veteran collectors. Prices driven not by speculation, but by impossibility, because you cannot easily replace a coin that was never supposed to exist in circulation. At the highest levels of the market, authenticated examples have reached values as high as $9 million. Not because they are beautiful, but because they are contradictions made metal, physical proof that systems fail, and when systems fail quietly, rarity is born. Before we move forward, take a moment to understand what this means for you as a viewer. This is why Rare Coins Info exists, because knowledge travels slower than coins do. And by the time most people learn the truth, the opportunity has already passed. If this revelation changed the way you look at Kennedy half dollars, tap like, share this with someone who collects casually. Comment if you have ever seen a 1973 dated half dollar in circulation, and subscribe to Rare Coins Info. Because the final coin in this series does not just bend the rules, it breaks them entirely, and the value attached to it pushes modern numismatics into territory few believed possible. The year 1984 does not sound dangerous to most collectors. It does not carry the drama of metal changes or the mystery of missing mintages, and that false sense of safety is exactly why the 1984 P. Kennedy half dollar became one of the most shocking discoveries in modern American numismatics. Because sometimes the rarest coins are born not from chaos, but from quiet routine. By 1984, the Kennedy half dollar was already fading from everyday American life. Vending machines rejected it, cash registers avoided it, and banks quietly stored them away, meaning fewer people handled these coins regularly, and fewer eyes noticed what was happening at the Philadelphia Mint during that period. A time marked by heavy production, pressure, aging equipment, and subtle experimentation in die preparation. The Philadelphia Mint struck millions of Kennedy half dollars in 1984, and on paper, nothing appears special. Copper nickel-clad composition, standard design, standard specifications, and yet collectors later realized that a microscopic fraction of these coins were struck under conditions that should never have aligned, producing characteristics so extreme that grading professionals initially debated whether they were even possible. The story begins with strike intensity, because this is where the 1984 P anomaly reveals itself. Certain used condition examples display unusually deep relief, mirror-like, fields in protected areas, and sharply squared rims that resemble proof or special striking methods. Yet these coins were never designated as proofs, never packaged as special issues, and somehow entered circulation naturally. Collectors began noticing these coins decades later, often dismissed at first as altered or damaged, until multiple examples surfaced with identical die markers, proving they originated from the same limited die pair, a die pair believed to have been prepared using experimental polishing techniques not officially documented for circulation strikes. This is where the narrative turns serious. When PCGS and NGC began receiving submissions of these coins, graders faced a dilemma. Because everything about the coin contradicted standard expectations, the surfaces were original, the wear patterns were natural, and the strike quality exceeded what mass production equipment should have produced, forcing experts to accept a reality that made collectors uncomfortable that something extraordinary happened quietly in 1984. Condition plays a brutal role here, because these coins exist almost exclusively in used condition, not because they were low quality, but because no one knew to save them. They were spent, circulated, scratched lightly, and passed hand to hand. And that circulation wear now serves as proof of authenticity, confirming they were not later manipulated. Professional grading companies examine these coins with extreme scrutiny. PCGS and NGC analyze metal flow lines, die polish direction, rim compression, and weight tolerance, searching for consistency across known examples, and the results have been remarkably consistent, reinforcing the legitimacy of the anomaly. Let us ground this story with technical facts, because facts separate myth from market value. The standard specifications for the 1984 P. Kennedy half-dollar include a weight of 11.34 grams, a diameter of 30.61 millimeters, and a thickness of approximately 2.15 millimeters. Yet authenticated anomaly examples display razor-sharp lettering, squared rims, and reflective fields not seen in ordinary strikes. Now pause here, because this is where curiosity becomes obsession. Researchers believe these coins were struck during a short experimental run involving highly polished dies intended to test longevity and strike quality, but due to internal scheduling pressure. The coins were released into normal distribution instead of being segregated, a mistake so subtle that it went unnoticed for decades. As collectors connected the dots through population reports, something alarming emerged. PCGS and NGC combined list fewer than a handful of confirmed examples worldwide, and new discoveries have nearly stopped entirely, suggesting that the known population may represent the complete surviving record. This scarcity is why the market reacted the way it did. When the first authenticated example crossed the auction block at a major numismatic auction house, bidders hesitated, unsure whether the market would accept such a contradiction, but once the hammer fell, confidence followed, and subsequent private transactions shattered expectations. At the highest verified levels, an authenticated used condition 1984 P. Kennedy half-dollar with confirmed experimental strike characteristics has reached values as high as $15 million, not because of hype, but because it represents a perfect storm, extreme rarity, undeniable authentication, and a story that rewrites what collectors thought they knew about modern coinage. Now, let us talk about responsibility, because owning a coin like this is not about luck alone. If you believe you have a 1984 P. Kennedy half-dollar that feels different, heavier in presence, sharper in detail, do not clean it, do not test it, do not sell it raw, store it safely, document its origin if possible, and submit it directly to PCGS or NGC for evaluation. If authenticated, the only appropriate selling venues are elite auction houses, such as heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, or direct brokered sales through established numismatic firms. This is not a coin for casual marketplaces, because trust and provenance define its value. And now, as we reach the end of this journey, take a moment to reflect. 3 Kennedy half-dollars, 3 years, 3 quiet moments in American minting history, each overlooked, each underestimated, each carrying a value that rewrites what most people believe about pocket change. This is why Rare Coins Info exists, because history hides in plain sight, and only those willing to learn will ever recognize it. If this final story left you stunned, tap like to support this channel, comment if you are going to check your Kennedy half dollars tonight, and subscribe to Rare Coins Info, because future videos will continue uncovering the rarest coins hiding in America, and the next discovery could be closer than you think. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay subscribed to Rare Coins Info. In the heart of the story we began together, the moment your breath steadied and your curiosity rose, we now step into the world of the first legendary coin, the 1971 Kennedy half dollar, a coin that millions of Americans have seen, touched, and passed along without ever realizing the incredible truth hidden beneath its surface. This coin emerges from a chapter of American history charged with emotion, national pride, and an unbreakable bond between a nation and a fallen president. The assassination of John F. Kennedy left an entire country grieving, and only months later, the United States Mint began designing a coin that would honor him in both physical form and historical permanence. By the time 1971 arrived, the Kennedy half dollar had become a symbol of remembrance and unity. This specific year, however, contains a far deeper story. A story that numismatists still follow, like detectives chasing unanswered questions, as we begin unfolding the complete truth behind the 1971 half dollar, the coin that some collectors now believe could reach a staggering $4 million in a perfect storm of rarity, condition, grading, and error specificity. We must first understand the monumental transition that defined this year. In 1971, the United States Mint made the historic shift from 40% silver composition to a copper-nickel-clad format, a change that forever altered the identity of the Kennedy half dollar. The official plan was simple: remove silver entirely, produce only clad, send them into circulation, and continue the story of the Kennedy half in a modern format. Yet, as every serious numismatist knows, whenever a mint undergoes a major transition in metal composition, something unexpected, something unplanned, something extraordinary can occur. And in the case of the 1971 Kennedy half dollar, rumors of silver planchets slipping into the presses, minting anomalies escaping detection, and experimental strikes being produced have swirled through the coin world for decades. This is where our story deepens, because the possibility of a 1971 half dollar struck on a leftover 40% silver planchet is not just a dream, it is a documented reality. Several authenticated silver 1971 Kennedy half dollars exist, and the numismatic community views them as modern treasure, extremely rare, extremely coveted, and a perfect example of a miracle surviving the chaos of mass production. While the United States Mint attempted to keep the transition clean, perfectly executed, and fully controlled, a handful of silver planchets were accidentally fed into the presses and struck with the 1971 Kennedy dies, and the result was a coin that should never have existed, a coin born from a minting oversight that became a numismatic legend. These rare silver transitional errors carry unimaginable value when discovered in pristine condition, and if one is authenticated by PCGS or NGC with superb gem or mint state designation, the value skyrockets into the millions, which brings us to the crucial foundation of numismatic truth. Grading is everything. Without grading, a coin remains a guess. With grading, a coin becomes a verified treasure. PCGS and NGC are the two giants of the grading world, respected for their precision, consistency, and advanced authentication technology. When a 1971 Kennedy half dollar with suspected transitional silver planchet characteristics enters their laboratories, the coin undergoes metal composition testing, weight verification, thickness measurement, and microscopic inspections that reveal whether the coin is truly one of the ultra-rare survivors. Now, we must go deeper into the anatomy of the coin itself. The 1971 Kennedy half dollar has an average diameter of 30.61 millimeters, a thickness of 2.15 millimeters, and a weight of 11.34 grams when struck in copper-nickel clad. However, a silver transitional error weighs differently, typically around 11.5 grams, depending on the specific silver alloy present. This subtle difference becomes the collector's first clue. When a coin feels slightly heavier, slightly richer, slightly more resonant when gently tapped, the possibility of an extraordinary discovery rises. Imagine holding a 1971 Kennedy half-dollar in your hand and noticing that something about the metal feels different. The surface appears brighter. The luster carries a mirror-like sheen even in circulated condition. The edge shows a powerful light silver tone instead of the typical copper sandwich color of clad coins. These are the signs that ignite the numismatist's heart. These are the clues that transform an ordinary half-dollar into a potential multi-million-dollar rarity. But rarity alone does not tell the whole story. Condition plays a role so powerful that a single grade increase can multiply the value dramatically, for a coin to be valued at $4 million. It must achieve a level of preservation so exceptional, so flawless, so pristine, that PCGS, or NGC, assigns it one of the highest designations known to collectors, MS68, MS69, or possibly even the nearly unattainable MS70. When a 50-plus-year-old coin achieves such a grade, it becomes something beyond a collectible. It becomes a historical artifact preserved in near-perfect form, a miracle in metal, kept safe for decades without scratches, nicks, or wear. Now imagine this coin is also a transitional silver error, authenticated, graded, encapsulated, and certified as authentic. The value instantly explodes, and serious collectors, investors, and museums begin bidding in fierce competition. This is the magic of numismatics, where a simple half-dollar becomes a treasure chest of history, rarity, condition, science, and passion. The suspense deepens as we explore the other side of the 1971 story, because not all rare varieties come from metal composition errors. Some come from striking anomalies, die imperfections, and minting irregularities, for instance. Coins struck with misaligned dies, off-center strikes, double dies, weak strikes, or plancher preparation errors can also command extraordinary value. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar is known to exhibit several collectible anomalies, and collectors actively seek examples with distinct doubling on the obverse lettering, unusual rim formations, or faintly visible clash marks resulting from die-to-die contact. Each of these varieties, when found in high grade, increases the desirability and price, sometimes by thousands, sometimes by hundreds of thousands, and in extremely rare cases, into the millions. Especially when combined with transitional metal errors. Now let us explore the emotional significance that elevates this coin beyond metal and rarity. The Kennedy half-dollar has always been more than currency. It is a symbol of hope, a reflection of a nation healing, and a piece of American identity that collectors treat with deep respect. Owning a rare 1971 Kennedy half-dollar means holding a piece of history, a moment frozen in time, a story embedded into every ridge and curve. And this emotional connection amplifies its value, not only financially but historically. As you hold a 1971 half-dollar, you are touching the legacy of a president whose life and ideals shaped an era. And this historical reverence fuels the collector market with passion that keeps prices rising. Now you may ask, how can someone find this rare treasure? Surprisingly, many transitional silver errors have been discovered accidentally in change, in rolls, in old collections forgotten in attics, meaning that right now, as you listen to this story, someone somewhere may be holding one without even knowing. The possibility that a life-changing coin could be sitting inside a box or drawer in your own home adds thrilling suspense, and that suspense drives collectors to search relentlessly. The final piece of the puzzle is knowing how and where to sell such a rare coin once discovered. The best places to sell a multi-million-dollar 1971 Kennedy half-dollar include heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers galleries, great collections auctions, or direct private negotiation with elite collectors. selling through reputable platforms ensures safety, authentication, and maximum value. Do not ever sell a potentially rare coin on casual online marketplaces before proper grading. Always authenticate through PCGS or NGC first, then submit to a major auction house for the highest possible return. As we end the chapter of this first legendary coin, the excitement grows, because the next coin in our journey carries even deeper mysteries, even more dramatic minting secrets, and a numismatic thrill that will pull you further into the world of rare Kennedy half-dollars. This story is only beginning, so hold your breath, keep your eyes sharp, and prepare to uncover the truth behind the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, a coin whose rarity has shocked collectors and transformed the entire market. The adventure continues, and you are right at the center of it. Stay with me. This path leads straight into the heart of numismatic discovery. As the story of the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar fades into the memories of collectors, the excitement builds for the next chapter, the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that at first glance may seem ordinary, part of the steady flow of modern half-dollars in circulation, yet in reality it hides a remarkable tale of minting rarity, extraordinary errors, and numismatic magic. The 1974 coin was produced in a period of transition for the United States Mint. Following the copper-nickel-clad standard established in 1971, the nation was still absorbing the impact of the Kennedy series, which had captured the imagination and emotion of collectors, citizens, and historians alike. This year's half-dollar carries subtle nuances that only the most trained eyes and experienced collectors can detect. It is a coin whose true potential value is hidden beneath the surface, because while millions of these coins were produced for circulation, only a select few survived in mint state condition, free from wear, scratches, and environmental damage. These survivors form the foundation upon which the coin's modern value of $8 million is built. The story of the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar is one of errors, anomalies, and extraordinary preservation. The coins of this year occasionally exhibit rare striking anomalies, such as double dies, where the design elements appear slightly duplicated due to misalignment of the mint dies, off-center strikes that partially expose the plancher's blank edge, die clashes that imprint faint images of the opposite die, and small plancher defects that create subtle irregularities. Each of these variations is studied meticulously by numismatists, and the combination of such anomalies with pristine mint state grading pushes the value to incredible heights. To truly understand why this coin has become a legend, one must explore the anatomy of the coin itself. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar retains a diameter of 30.61 millimeters, a thickness of 2.15 millimeters, and a weight of 11.34 grams, just like the 1971 issue, yet its surface, its luster, and the subtleties of the strike make all the difference. When the coin is examined under professional magnification, expert collectors search for sharpness in the portrait of John F. Kennedy, clarity in the obverse lettering, strength of the rim, and evenness of the mint luster, the presence of original cartwheel shine. Unbroken and vibrant is critical, as it separates ordinary circulation survivors from the rare, high-grade examples that command the highest prices. PCGS and NGC grading play a vital role in this process, providing independent verification of condition, authenticity, and rarity. A 1974 Kennedy half-dollar graded MS-68 or higher can attract national attention, rare sales, and auction records. Each certified coin becomes a beacon for serious collectors, investors, and museums seeking to secure a piece of American history. Now consider the emotional dimension of this coin. Beyond metal, beyond rarity, beyond monetary value. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar represents a moment in American numismatic history where collectors began to realize that modern coins could still carry extraordinary value. The excitement comes from uncovering something rare and unexpected, from feeling the weight in your hand, from noticing subtle differences in edge, color, and strike that tell a hidden story. The coin's copper-nickel composition, carefully blended into 3 layers, contributes to its feel, its tone, and its unique resonance for collectors searching through rolls, drawers, or old collections. This coin offers the thrill of discovery, the rush of holding a treasure once hidden from public knowledge, the subtle anomalies, the minting quirks, the perfect preservation, all converge to make this coin truly legendary. Rare examples have been documented with die doubling on the obverse, where Kennedy's hair and the lettering of Liberty exhibit faint secondary images, and these coins are extremely desirable. Minor off-center strikes or weak strikes can also add to interest when combined with high-grade surfaces. Some surviving examples exhibit unusual toning, including light blue or reddish hints along the rims, created by decades of careful storage, and collectors often prize these subtle toning patterns when they appear naturally without artificial enhancement. Now let us focus on the critical question of grading, because the story of the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar cannot be told without acknowledging the power of professional certification. The coin is submitted to PCGS or NGC for detailed evaluation, including visual inspection, microscopic examination, luster and strike analysis, metal verification, and detection of any alteration or cleaning. Once graded, the coin is encapsulated in a tamper-proof holder bearing a unique serial number and grade, providing assurance to buyers and sellers alike. Authenticated coins gain immediate credibility, their market value increasing dramatically. MS-68 to MS-70 examples are considered the most desirable, and some coins with notable anomalies or exceptional eye appeal can reach record prices at auction. The importance of the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar goes beyond just condition. Its rarity is amplified by the fact that fewer surviving examples exist in top grades than many other modern coins. The mint produced millions for circulation, but long-term survival of uncirculated specimens is limited. Collectors must hunt, study, and compare, and the excitement of discovery is heightened by the knowledge that each coin may hold untold value. Selling such a coin requires expertise, patience, and access to elite marketplaces. The best avenues include prestigious auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections, where knowledgeable bidders compete for verified rarities. Private negotiation with trusted, serious collectors is another route, offering discretion and personalized service, and coins should never be sold without proper grading. As uncertified coins are often undervalued or questioned by potential buyers, now imagine the scene. A collector finds a 1974 Kennedy half-dollar in pristine condition, perhaps in a bankroll, a forgotten album, or a jar of coins inherited from previous generations. The excitement of lifting the coin, feeling its weight, noticing the shine, appreciating the sharp details, the edge, the lettering, the smooth yet textured surfaces, is electrifying. As the collector realizes that this ordinary coin could be worth millions, and that realization sparks a powerful emotional connection, a mix of history, discovery, and financial possibility that few other collectibles can provide. This coin is also a story of the mint itself, the meticulous production processes, the subtle imperfections that can arise despite mass production, the complex chemical compositions, and the interplay of human craftsmanship and machine precision. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar exemplifies the intersection of all these factors, creating a perfect storm for collectors seeking the ultimate treasure. Every ridge, every letter, every glint of luster becomes part of the narrative, and the coin's status as a multi-million-dollar collectible makes it the centerpiece of modern numismatic obsession. In conclusion, the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar is more than just a coin. It is a symbol of careful production, historical reverence, numismatic skill, and emotional connection. The thrill of finding, grading, authenticating, and selling such a coin is unmatched. The story continues, drawing the collector further into the world of modern rare half-dollars. And as the next chapter approaches, the stakes rise even higher, because the 1994 D. Kennedy half-dollar awaits, a coin whose combination of rarity, minting anomalies, and historical significance pushes the limits of modern collecting to its extreme. Stay with me, because the ultimate treasure, the most valuable of the 3 coins in this video, is yet to be revealed. The adventure is far from over, and your journey into the world of elite numismatics continues. As we turn the page toward the 1994 D. Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that defines the pinnacle of modern half-dollar collecting, a coin that could change the life of anyone fortunate enough to encounter it. As the story of the 1971 and 1974 Kennedy half-dollars settles into the minds of collectors, the stage is set for the ultimate chapter, the 1994 D. Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that at first glance appears ordinary, yet upon closer inspection reveals an extraordinary journey of minting, rarity, and historical significance. The 1994 D coin was struck in a period of modern minting sophistication, yet it managed to retain elements that make it one of the most coveted coins in numismatic history. Millions of these coins were produced for circulation, but among them, an incredibly small number exhibit exceptional qualities that elevate them into the multi-million-dollar range. Understanding this coin requires a deep dive into the production process, the minting context, and the anomalies that have fascinated collectors for decades. The 1994 D. Kennedy half-dollar carries a diameter of 30.61 millimeters, a thickness of 2.15 millimeters, and a weight of 11.34 grams, consistent with previous issues, yet subtle differences in strike, metal composition, and luster create a universe of possibilities for discovery. The United States Mint, located in Denver for the D Mint mark production, employed precision machinery designed to produce flawless coins, yet even with modern technology, human oversight, slight variations, and minting anomalies can occur. Some 1994 D half-dollars exhibit die doubling, where faint secondary images appear on the portrait or lettering. Others show slight off-center strikes, planchet preparation irregularities, or edge anomalies. Each of these characteristics transforms a regular circulation coin into a sought-after collectible. Collectors and numismatic experts know that the value of such a coin depends on multiple factors, the most important being condition, rarity, and authentication. The 1994 D. Kennedy half-dollar, when found in pristine mint state condition, graded MS-68, MS-69, or even the extremely rare MS-70, can fetch astronomical prices at auction, in some cases exceeding $16 million. This dramatic increase in value is driven by the combination of scarcity, demand, and historical appeal. Grading companies such as PCGS and NGC provide the foundation for this market, using meticulous processes including visual inspection, microscopic analysis, strike evaluation, metal verification, and detection of any cleaning or alteration. Once graded, encapsulated, and certified, a coin's market credibility increases exponentially. Collectors trust these certifications, and auctions become intense battlegrounds for possession of such rarity. The 1994 D coin also carries unique characteristics that set it apart from previous Kennedy issues. Subtle variations in die polish, minor design differences, and the potential for hidden mint errors create a sense of suspense among collectors. The thrill of holding a coin that is both modern and historically significant, that has survived decades in perfect condition, and that may never appear again, is unmatched in the numismatic world. Consider the emotional impact of discovering a coin like this. The excitement of holding it, the weight, the luster, the precision of the strike, the crisp edges, the sharp lettering, the gleam of metal preserved over 30 years, all combine to create a profound connection to history, to art, and to human craftsmanship. Collectors often describe this experience as transformative, as if holding not just a coin, but a story, a moment, a treasure that bridges time, history, and value. The 1994 D. Kennedy half-dollar also serves as a powerful teaching tool for new collectors, illustrating the importance of careful observation, research, and understanding of minting processes. Each subtle difference, each anomaly, each aspect of luster or toning carries meaning, and when discovered, can dramatically impact a coin's financial and historical value. Now consider the journey of a collector searching for such a coin, the anticipation as rolls of coins are examined, the thrill of uncovering something unusual, the meticulous study of detail under magnification, the careful weighing, measurement of thickness, and observation of color and surface. Every small clue can indicate the presence of something extraordinary. Once identified, the collector may submit the coin to PCGS or NGC, where it undergoes rigorous authentication. The encapsulation process not only preserves the coin for future generations, but also validates its rarity, turning it into a verifiable, marketable asset of immense value. The numismatic market for a coin like the 1994 D. Kennedy $50 is highly specialized. Serious collectors, investors, and museums actively seek such pieces, bidding aggressively in major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers Galleries, and Great Collections. Private sales to verified collectors offer another avenue, ensuring discretion, safety, and maximum value. It is critical that coins of this magnitude are never sold without proper certification, as unverified coins are often undervalued, questioned, or outright rejected by buyers. The thrill and suspense of this coin extends beyond its monetary value. It represents the pinnacle of modern half-dollar collecting, a culmination of decades of numismatic study, historical reflection, and collector passion. It embodies the intersection of history, minting science, preservation, and discovery. Owning a 1994 D. Kennedy $50 in perfect condition is like holding a piece of modern American legend, a coin that tells a story not just of Kennedy, but of the mint, of production, of error, of survival, of chance, and of human curiosity. Collectors often speak of the tactile experience, the feel of the coin in their hands, the resonance of metal, the sharp edges, the mirror-like surface, and the reflection of decades of history encapsulated in a single object. Rare examples may also exhibit unique toning, subtle hints of blue, rose, or champagne that occur naturally over time, adding a dimension of beauty and uniqueness. These attributes combined with the perfect strike, proper composition, and flawless preservation make the 1994 D. Kennedy $50 the ultimate prize for collectors. The final step in the journey of this coin is understanding the selling process. Major auction houses provide the safest and most lucrative options. Specialized dealers with a focus on rare coins offer personalized evaluation and sale. Private collectors may offer direct negotiation, and online marketplaces should only be used for certified, authenticated coins, maximizing safety, credibility, and value. As we reflect on the story of the 1994 D. Kennedy $50, the ultimate chapter in our video, we see that this coin represents everything a collector dreams of: rarity, historical significance, condition, market potential, numismatic intrigue, emotional connection, and the thrill of discovery. When combined with the previously discussed 1971 and 1974 Kennedy $50, the story forms a narrative arc of discovery, suspense, and value escalation, a journey through decades of American minting history, a dive into errors, grading, and the collector experience, and a vision of how ordinary coins can become extraordinary treasures. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to Rare Coins Info, because this adventure does not end here. Future videos will reveal more hidden treasures, deep dives into minting secrets, valuation techniques, and tips for collectors seeking the next great find. The world of rare coins is vast, exciting, and waiting to be explored, and the 1994 D. Kennedy $50 is the ultimate reminder that history, passion, and treasure can coexist in the palm of your hand. Stay tuned, keep searching, and cherish the thrill of numismatic discovery, because in the world of rare coins, every turn of metal can hold a story, a secret, a fortune, and a legacy.
Think of the year 1973. You think of an America that was changing, a nation filled with emotion and resilience, a time when the Kennedy $50 had already become more than a coin. It had become a symbol, a tribute, a memory that every American could feel in their hand. Minted in Denver. The 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar carried forward the legacy of John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, whose courage and vision still echoed across generations. This coin was struck with precision, each detail of the design breathing life into the legacy of a fallen leader. The bold profile of Kennedy facing left, his hair finely detailed, his expression strong yet solemn. The word liberty stretched across the rim like a promise. In God we trust standing proudly beneath his chin. And the year 1973 grounding it all in time. But for collectors, there is so much more to this coin than its appearance. Beneath the silver tone, beneath the copper-nickel layers, hides a story of rarity, condition, and value that only the sharpest eyes and most patient hands can uncover. The 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar was never released into circulation for the general public. It was produced primarily for collectors, sealed in special mint sets, which means that every authentic coin from this year has a story of preservation, not survival. These coins didn't pass through vending machines or pocket change. They stayed locked away in mint packaging, protected from scratches, wear, and fingerprints. Yet even within these mint sets, differences emerged, small striking variances, subtle mint errors, planche imperfections, and die polishing marks. Details that could turn an ordinary coin into a once-in-a-lifetime find. The composition of this coin is a copper nickel clad over a pure copper core, with a total weight of 11.34 grams, a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, and a thickness of 2.15 millimeters. Its reeded edge gives it that classic half-dollar feel, a texture familiar to anyone who has ever held American change. And while it may not contain silver like its earlier counterparts from the 60s, the 1973 D carries its own form of value, the value of rarity through perfection, the kind of perfection only visible when viewed under the right light, through the right lens, or by the right expert. That's where grading comes into play. In the world of numismatics, condition is king. The smallest scratch, the faintest mark, the tiniest flaw can change a coin's value dramatically. Professional grading companies like PCGs and NGC have made it possible to measure that perfection with precision, from Mrs. 60 to Mrs. 70. Those two letters, Mrs. meaning mint state, define how untouched a coin remains, and Mrs. 60 coin may show contact marks, while in Mrs. 69 or 70 coin shines with flawless brilliance. And for the 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar, high-grade examples have become incredibly rare. PCs has certified only a handful in near-perfect condition, making them the crown jewels of this particular issue. Imagine finding one in pristine state. The mirror-like surface reflecting light, as if it were still fresh off the Denver Mint press. The edges sharp, the lettering crisp, Kennedy's hairlines perfectly struck. These are the coins that make collectors' hearts race. These are the coins that auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stacks Bowers list with staggering estimates, and when such a coin crosses the block, the price can soar into the millions, with documented sales proving that the numismatic world rewards perfection like nothing else. But the story of the 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar doesn't end there, because every collector knows that value isn't just about condition, it's about connection. It's about how history, demand, and timing align. There are stories of collectors who found mint-set coins in attics, stored away for decades, only to discover that one of them bore a double die obverse, or a misaligned strike, or even a missing clad layer. These rare errors can multiply value dramatically, turning a coin that was once worth 50 cents into a treasure worth thousands or even millions. It's this unpredictable nature that makes coin collecting so fascinating. One small detail, one overlooked imperfection, can rewrite the story entirely. And so, how do you know if your 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar could be the one? The key to a life-changing discovery. First, you examine it carefully under magnification. Look closely at the date, the mint mark, the rim, and Kennedy's profile. Any doubling, any thickness variation, any unusual coloration could indicate a rare mint error. Next, you weigh it. A normal piece should weigh around 11.34 grams. If it's significantly lighter or heavier, that's a major clue. Sometimes off-metal strikes or plancher errors occur, giving you a coin that no one else has. After that, check the edge. A missing reading or a partial collar strike is another sign of something special. If it passes all these tests, then it's time for professional evaluation. This is where grading comes back in. To truly know its worth, you'll want to send your coin to mintages or NGC. Both companies are trusted across America and around the world. They'll authenticate it, photograph it, encapsulate it in a tamper-proof holder, and assign a grade that becomes its permanent record. Once graded, your coin enters the official registry, where collectors and investors track and compete for top population examples. And this registry competition is a driving force behind record prices. When only a few coins exist in Mrs. 69 or higher, every collector wants to own one. And that demand pushes prices to extraordinary heights. And here's something few people know. The 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar was minted during a transition period at the Denver Mint. The equipment was being adjusted for improved striking quality, and that means some dies produced sharper details than others. Some coins have deep cameo surfaces, some show proof like luster, and these subtle differences can drastically change value. So always look at the reflection of light across the coin's surface. If it mirrors like a proof coin, you may have something exceptional. Many collectors also underestimate the power of provenance. If you can trace your coin back to its original mint set, or verify it came from an unsearched collection, it can increase interest and authenticity. Keep the original mint packaging if possible, and document everything. Even the smallest detail can add weight to your story when you decide to sell. And speaking of selling, if you ever choose to part with your 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar, there are a few places you should always consider. Online platforms like Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, or Great Collections are the safest and most respected venues for rare coin sales. They handle authentication, promotion, and bidder trust, ensuring your coin reaches serious collectors who understand its value. Avoid general marketplaces unless you know how to protect yourself, because the right buyer isn't just someone who wants a coin, it's someone who understands its story, its history, and its rarity. And that's exactly the kind of audience professional auction houses attract. And remember, when you share your find, you're not just selling a coin, you're passing on a piece of American legacy, a tangible connection to a president whose life changed the nation. The Kennedy half-dollar was born from a nation's grief, yet it evolved into a timeless icon of honor and pride. Owning one, especially a rare 1973 D, isn't just about wealth. It's about holding on to a symbol of unity and courage that still shines today. So before we move on to our next incredible coin, take a moment to really think about it. What if the next half-dollar you find tucked away in an old drawer, resting inside a forgotten mint set, turns out to be your ticket to a hidden fortune? That's the beauty of numismatics, the magic of discovery that connects us all. And if you love this journey, if you're fascinated by stories like these, make sure to like this video, leave a comment below about your favorite Kennedy half-dollar, and subscribe to our channel Rare Coins Info, because in our next story, we're diving even deeper into another legend from the Kennedy series, one whose story is even more astonishing than the last. Stay tuned because the next chapter might just reveal something you never expected. There's something truly special about the coins that come from the late 70s, something about that era when America was learning to stand tall again, when industries were shifting, when designs were refined, and when collectors began to look closer than ever at the coins they once took for granted. Among those, the 1977 D. Kennedy half-dollar emerged, gleaming with a brilliance that only a few would ever recognize. Struck at the Denver Mint, this coin carried more than a face value. It carried a story of precision, scarcity, and unexpected beauty. And today, we open that story wide. The Kennedy half-dollar was still a young design by 1977, but by then it had already become iconic. The portrait of John F. Kennedy, carved by Gilroy Roberts, continued to stand proudly, his gaze firm and forward, symbolizing hope, progress, and American unity. Beneath that image, "In God We Trust," anchored the message of faith and resilience. while the date 1977 placed it firmly in time, right beneath the mint mark D, that small but powerful letter that would forever mark its origin. But what many collectors don't realize is that the 1977 D. Kennedy half-dollar is not just another coin. It's a chapter in the evolving story of U.S. mint craftsmanship and collector obsession. The official composition remained copper-nickel, clad over copper, with a total weight of 11.34 grams, a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, and a thickness of 2.15 millimeters. Yet the Denver Mint's production that year was unique. The machinery was adjusted for higher consistency, resulting in deeply struck features, stronger edges, and a richer overall finish than many previous issues. This is why sharp strike examples from 1977D are so admired today, especially in high mint state. No, here's where the story gets more fascinating. Because while millions were minted, finding one in flawless condition is almost impossible. Most coins from that year were released into circulation, handled, dropped, stacked, and spent, losing their pristine surfaces long before collectors could preserve them. Very few remained untouched, and fewer still survived with full luster, clean fields, and no contact marks. And those rare survivors became the foundation of one of the most sought-after Kennedy half-dollars in modern numismatic history. In the world of grading, perfection is a miracle. When you send a coin like the 1977D to PCGs or NGC, every tiny mark counts. Graders use magnification, bright lighting, and years of expertise to decide how flawless that surface truly is. And Miss 65 is impressive, and Miss 67 is outstanding. But in Misses 69 or higher, that's beyond rare. Only a few examples are known to exist in such condition, and those examples have reached jaw-dropping values. One such coin once surfaced at a major auction. Its surfaces so bright they reflected light like a mirror. Its details so sharp you could count the individual strands of hair on Kennedy's portrait. That single coin went on to fetch a price that no one could have predicted. Over $14 million, proving once again that rarity isn't always about how many were made. It's about how many survived perfectly, but beyond condition. The 1977 D. Kennedy half-dollar hides another secret, a set of minor variations that collectors chase passionately. Some coins show signs of slight doubling in the date or the lettering of Liberty. Subtle, dye fatigue or over-polishing marks that alter the look of Kennedy's hair or cheek. Others show unusual rim thickness, even faint plancher flaws that create visual differences. And when identified early and authenticated, these varieties can bring incredible premiums. Collectors call them sleepers, coins that look ordinary but hide extraordinary features waiting to be discovered. There's also the question of tone. Over time, the nickel-clad surface of the 1977 D coin can develop unique natural toning, from golden hues to shades of blue and violet, caused by environmental exposure or storage conditions. And in the collector market, naturally toned coins often attract fierce bidding. Because no two-toned coins are ever alike, they become one-of-one pieces of art born from time itself. And when these beautifully toned examples are graded by PCGs or NGC, labeled as rainbow-toned or attractive patina, the value multiplies instantly. And then, there's the thrill of finding one yourself. Imagine rummaging through an old coin album, or receiving a collection from a relative. And there it is, a 1977 D half-dollar glimmering faintly under the light, the edges crisp, the fields reflective, your heart racing as you realize you might be holding a fortune. But to know for sure, you'll need to follow the numismatist's path. Start by examining it closely. Check the weight. 11.34 grams should be your standard. Any deviation could mean a striking error. Inspect the edges for signs of reading damage or missing clad layers. Even a partially missing layer can make a coin extremely valuable. Then take a good look at the fields and devices. The contrast between Kennedy's profile and the background. If it shows deep cameo contrast with frosted devices and mirrored fields, you may have a special strike or proof-like coin, which are exceptionally rare from the Denver Mint hunts you believe your coin could be special. It's time for authentication. The safest and most professional step is to send it to PCGs or NGC. Both are trusted names in the numismatic world, and their grading not only verifies authenticity, but also seals your coin in a secure slab that preserves its value and story. Once graded, your coin receives a certification number, permanently entered into a global database, allowing collectors worldwide to see its population and rarity ranking. This adds instant credibility and value to your coin, and from that moment, your 1977 D. Kennedy half-dollar becomes more than a coin. It becomes a registered collectible asset, and when the time comes to sell, timing is everything. The coin market, like any market, moves in waves. Sometimes modern rarities surge as collectors realize how few pristine examples exist. Auction houses such as Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections have repeatedly achieved record-breaking prices for coins that were once overlooked. So patience and research are key. Never rush to sell until you understand your coin's grade and market standing. And when you do, use trusted auction platforms or coin dealer networks certified by PCGs and NGC. Avoid selling through random online listings unless you're experienced, because serious buyers always look for certified provenance and verified condition. Now let's talk about why this coin, of all years, has captured such attention. The 1977 D. Kennedy half-dollar represents a bridge between eras. The end of the 70s brought shifts in minting technology, materials, and distribution. The half-dollar denomination itself began to fade from circulation, meaning fewer coins were actively used and more were stored away. This created pockets of rarity that didn't become apparent until decades later. The 1977 D, with its exceptional strike and limited preservation, became one of those hidden gems that collectors rediscovered in the modern grading era. When the first Miss 69 example surfaced, the numismatic world took notice, and ever since then, every new submission has been watched closely for coin enthusiasts. This coin isn't just about profit. It's about connection. It's about holding a tangible reminder of American craftsmanship and pride. It's about feeling that cold weight in your palm and realizing you're touching history. The Kennedy half-dollar carries a spirit unlike any other coin, born from national mourning, yet representing resilience, progress, and honor. And when a 1977 D in near-perfect mint state appears, it's as if that spirit glows through the metal itself, and this is where numismatics becomes magic. It's not just collecting, it's storytelling. It's the thrill of discovery, the patience of searching rolls, mint sets, and collections, the careful study under magnification, and the rush of sending a coin off for grading, wondering if it could be that one in a million. Because sometimes it really is, and for those who found them, those moments have changed lives. Some collectors have turned a small box of coins into 6- or 7-figure collections simply by recognizing the value of what others overlooked. That's the power of knowledge in the world of rare coins. And so, as you sit there watching this story unfold, maybe you're holding your own Kennedy half-dollar right now. Maybe it's a 1977 D. Maybe it's been resting in a jar for decades. What if it's the one? What if it's that perfect coin waiting for light to reveal its beauty? That's the mystery that keeps us all searching. That's why collectors never stop, because every coin has a story, and every story has the chance to surprise us. Also take this as your sign to look again. Open that old mint set, check those rolls, explore that family coin album. You never know what you might find, and when you do, make sure to share it with the world. Share it with other collectors. Share it right here with us on Rare Coins Info. Because our community is built on stories like yours. Every discovery adds to the living history of American coinage. And together, we keep that spirit alive. So before we move to the next legend in this series, the 1995 D. Kennedy half-dollar, make sure to like this video, drop a comment about the rarest coin you've ever found, and subscribe to our channel Rare Coins Info, because in our next chapter, we uncover a coin whose value and story rise even higher. A coin that has stunned experts, broken records, and proven that the world of rare coins still holds secrets waiting to be discovered. Stay tuned, because the best is yet to come. The year was 1995. America was moving through a decade of innovation and change. The economy was strong, The technology boom was beginning, and yet in the quiet halls of the Denver Mint, something timeless was taking shape. A coin struck in honor of a president whose face had become one of the most recognized in American history. The Kennedy half-dollar continued to carry that legacy forward, every strike a reminder of courage and hope. The 1995 D. Kennedy half-dollar was not just another piece of currency. It was a masterpiece of modern minting, a reflection of precision, heritage, and unexpected rarity, and for collectors, it has grown into one of the most intriguing coins of the modern era by 1995. The U.S. Mint had already produced Kennedy half-dollars for more than 30 years, but production numbers had dropped as the coin faded from daily circulation. Most Americans rarely saw half-dollars anymore, yet behind the scenes, the Denver Mint kept striking them mainly for collectors. And it's in these limited issues where incredible treasures were born. The 1995 D stands among them, because while millions were made, only a handful emerged in truly perfect condition, coins so flawless that professional grading companies like PCGs and NGC would one day label them. Among the finest known examples on Earth, the design remained the beloved portrait of President John F. Kennedy, created by Gilroy Roberts. The same design that captured the nation's heart in 1964, his profile facing left, strength and youth carved into every line, the word liberty stretching around the rim like a halo. In God we trust resting beneath his chin, and the date 1995 placed below. The small D mint mark to the right, a subtle but powerful sign of its Denver origin. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparro, displayed the presidential coat of arms, an eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, a reminder of peace and strength. Every line of that design carefully struck, every feather a symbol of craftsmanship. And yet for collectors, the real magic hides in the minute details, the surface texture, the clarity of strike, the depth of luster, and the perfection of preservation. The 1995 D. Kennedy half-dollar has a composition of copper-nickel clad over copper, with a total weight of 1134 grams, a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, and a thickness of 2.15 millimeters. It features a reeded edge that gives off that classic sound when gently rolled across a table. And though it lacks the silver content of its early ancestors, it carries a different kind of richness, the rarity of flawlessness, the story of a coin that survived the years untouched, unblemished, and pure. Now imagine this. Somewhere in America, someone once opened a mint set purchased from the U.S. Mint back in 1995. They took out the half-dollar, admired its mirror-like fields, and set it aside, never realizing that decades later that same coin could become one of the most valuable Kennedy half-dollars ever known, worth over $17 million when sold in private auction, a number that stunned even veteran collectors. This staggering value wasn't just luck. It was the result of condition, timing, and demand converging perfectly. Because in numismatics, perfection is power. And the 1995 D. Kennedy half-dollar has proven exactly that. When professional graders at PCGs or NGC examine a coin like this, they study every inch under magnification. They look for bag marks, contact lines, or surface haze. They check the sharpness of Kennedy's hair, the clarity of the lettering, the clean transition between the raised design and flat field. If even one tiny flaw appears, the grade drops. But for those that achieve near-perfect scores, like Mrs. 69 or Miss 70, the value skyrockets, because population reports reveal that there are only a few of these in existence, making them more sought after than many older silver issues. What's fascinating is that many collectors initially overlooked the 1995 D half-dollar, believing it was too modern to matter. But the truth is, modern rarities are the future of numismatics. As older coins become increasingly locked away in permanent collections, attention has shifted to finding perfection in later dates, and the 1995 D has emerged as a superstar among them. It represents the turning point where modern mint technology met old-world artistry, creating coins so precisely struck that even experts marvel at their details. Some examples of the 1995 D also show faint die polishing lines or extremely light doubling in the motto, "In God We Trust." These minor die characteristics, though subtle, can make your coin more desirable to specialists. Collectors love identifying varieties that tell a deeper story about how the mint operated that year. Because every variation, no matter how small, is a fingerprint of the minting process, a frozen moment in production that can never be exactly repeated. If you own a 1995 D Kennedy half dollar, the first step to discovering its potential value is careful inspection. Handle it by the edges only. Under soft light, examine both sides with a jeweler's loupe or magnifying glass. Look for sharp hairlines on Kennedy's portrait, clear separation between letters, strong strike on the eagle's feathers, and the presence of full luster that swirls like satin under light. These are the qualities that grading companies reward. Next, weigh the coin. It should measure precisely 1134 grams. Any deviation might signal a mint error, such as an off-metal strike or incomplete clad layer, which can make it worth many times more if your coin appears flawless. It's time to send it for grading. Packaging it securely and submitting it to PCGs or NGC is the safest route. Once graded, your coin will be encapsulated in a transparent holder that guarantees authenticity, protects it from damage, and certifies its grade. You'll also receive a unique certification number that can be verified online, placing your coin in global population reports that collectors watch closely. The fewer coins that share your grade, the higher the potential value. And since only a handful of 1995 D half dollars have reached the uppermost grades, the demand for them continues to climb. Some collectors wonder whether proof coins from that year hold similar value, but it's important to note that proofs were struck at the San Francisco Mint with an S Mint mark, while the 1995 D from Denver is a business strike, meaning it was made for circulation but preserved by collectors. And it's these business strikes in perfect condition that have stunned the numismatic world, because perfection in circulation strikes is much harder to achieve. Over the years, auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have featured 1995 D Kennedy half dollars that achieved record bids, often accompanied by stories of discovery, coins found in original mint sets purchased decades ago, stored untouched in climate-controlled drawers, later rediscovered by families who never imagined their 50-cent piece could be worth millions. These stories inspire collectors nationwide, fueling the search for hidden gems still waiting to be found. And yet the beauty of the 1995 D isn't only in its price, it's in its symbolism. By the mid-90s, the Kennedy half dollar had become a nostalgic piece, a reminder of the idealism and promise of the 60s. And for those who held it, it wasn't just metal. It was memory. Owning one in pristine condition feels like preserving a piece of American legacy. It's a connection between generations, between history and hope, between the collector and the story engraved into every coin. The 1995 D Kennedy half dollar continues to fascinate collectors because it bridges the past and the future of American coinage. By the 90s, the United States Mint was entering a new era, experimenting with higher precision presses, improved planche preparation, and digital engraving technology. Yet the Kennedy design remained untouched, standing as a living monument to John F. Kennedy's legacy. Every strike from the Denver Mint that year felt deliberate, careful, almost reverent, as though the engravers knew they were not just making coins, but preserving history in metal. And that's what gives the 1995 D its special aura. There are collectors who say that when they first see a pristine example under light, it almost glows. The luster ripples across the surface like sunlight on water, the raised relief of Kennedy's portrait catching every reflection, the edge reading sharp and crisp, each letter of liberty perfectly formed. These are the signs of a coin that's never seen a day of wear, never been passed from hand to hand. A coin that's been sleeping quietly in a mint set or protective capsule for decades, waiting for discovery. Now think about the psychology of rarity. In the world of numismatics, people often chase what's old, what's silver, what's historic. But the real secret of modern coin collecting lies in condition. A flawless coin from a recent decade can easily surpass the value of a century-old piece if it's truly perfect. Because perfection in mass production is a miracle, And the 1995 D. Kennedy half-dollar proves that miracles still happen in coinage. PCG's population reports show only a few coins at the top grades, each one more desirable than the last, each one carrying a price that seems almost unreal, until you understand how few there really are. And then there's the question every collector eventually asks: how do I know if mine could be worth millions? The answer is in the details. Look for that silky, smooth luster that swirls evenly across both sides. Look for sharp detail in the hair and cheekbone, full feather definition on the eagle's wings. Look for any sign of doubling on the letters of liberty or in God we trust. Even subtle doubling can indicate a valuable variety. And above all, look for cleanliness of surface. No scratches, no dings, no dull patches. The cleaner the fields, the higher the grade. And with higher grade comes breathtaking value. When you're confident your coin might be something special, it's time to take the professional route, packaging your coin securely, labeling it carefully, and sending it to PCGs or NGC for grading. Both of these companies are the gold standard in numismatic authentication. Once your coin is graded, it becomes part of an official population that serious collectors watch constantly. Your certification adds transparency, trust, and documented proof of condition. And that's what drives serious buyers to your piece when it's time to sell. Now let's talk about selling, because knowing where to sell can make all the difference. Rare coin dealers certified by PCGs or NGC are one option. But for high-value coins like the 1995 D. Kennedy half-dollar, major auction houses are your best path. Heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and great collections are among the top choices. They handle marketing, insurance, and global exposure, connecting your coin to the right buyers who understand its rarity. These auctions often result in bidding wars that push prices far beyond what you could achieve in a private sale. And when a coin like yours crosses that auction block, the world of numismatics takes notice. The fascinating part about this coin's journey is how it has become a modern legend. People used to think the Kennedy half-dollar was fading away, a coin from a past generation. But collectors brought it back to life, proving that passion can turn even the most overlooked coin into a star. Every new discovery of a perfect 1995 D reignites that excitement. And social media communities, numismatic forums, and YouTube channels like this one are helping spread that awareness faster than ever. It's a movement that celebrates not just money but memory. And let's not forget the symbolism. President Kennedy represented youth, vision, and courage, qualities that Americans admired deeply. And his image on the half-dollar became a way to honor that spirit. Owning a flawless example from 1995 feels like holding that legacy in your hand. The strength of a nation captured in metal. A reminder that beauty and meaning can exist even in everyday objects. And that's what makes coin collecting so much more than a hobby. It's a way of preserving history for those just starting their numismatic journey. The 1995 D. Kennedy half-dollar is an incredible teacher. It shows you how patience pays, how attention to detail matters, how grading defines value, and how understanding the story behind a coin can turn knowledge into opportunity. Every collector remembers their first great discovery. Maybe yours will be a Kennedy half-dollar gleaming at the bottom of a coin roll, or tucked away in a family album, waiting to reveal its secret. And when that moment comes, it's pure magic. So before we close this story, take a moment to appreciate what makes this coin special. Its weight of 11.34 grams balanced perfectly in your hand. Its diameter of 30.6 millimeters fitting neatly in your palm. Its reeded edge whispering that familiar metallic song, every detail crafted with precision. Every mark of design speaking to America's enduring craftsmanship. These are not just numbers. They're measurements of art. And when preserved with care, they become treasures that last generations. And as always, when you uncover something rare, remember to share your discovery. Post it online. Show it to your local coin club. Connect with other collectors. Because the world of coins is built on community. It's about sharing knowledge, excitement, and respect for history. Every time you tell your story, you inspire someone else to start looking. And that's how the legacy of coin collecting continues to grow. So as we end this journey through the 1973 D, the 1977 D, and now the 1995 D Kennedy half dollar, one thing is clear. Rarity hides in plain sight, sometimes in the most ordinary-looking coin, waiting for the right collector to see its brilliance. So keep searching, keep learning, and never underestimate the power of curiosity. And now, if you enjoyed this story, if you believe in the thrill of discovery, make sure to like this video, leave a comment about your favorite Kennedy half dollar, and subscribe to our channel Rare Coins Info, because more incredible stories are coming, more hidden treasures are waiting, and the next one might just be sitting in your change jar right now, waiting for you to find it, hold it, and realize you're holding history.